Today we're going to replace the rear tire on the Monster Moto mini bike. This is the 80cc. They also go by Mega Moto now. I believe they did a name change a couple years back. But the focus of this video is just about this rear tire and replacing it. So we'll get into the particulars for that. And just so you know, I have done videos about greasing the clutch, the bushing in there, also greasing the chain tensioner, how to adjust the chain tensioner, and also how to adjust the engine forward if you don't have enough room in the chain tensioner anymore. And that will happen one day where you have to slide the engine forward. So I'm going to go ahead. This will not be on video. I just have to take off these plastics and get some stuff ready. And then when I'm ready to get the bolts or the nuts off of here, we'll get going and show you how to do this procedure. So thanks for watching and coming along on this little journey here to do this. Okay, so I loosened this panel here. There's only three spots to loosen it. They're just Phillips heads. I took the cover off here. Again, there's 3 bolts, and those ones are actually 10 mil. And the next thing, this is where we're going to start the video. If you're not going to take the master link out, you want to take off this tensioner here. Now I already have a wrench back here. It's just, in this case, I don't know, it's a really weird bike because it seems to be used both metric and standard tools. So this is a 1/2 inch, this is a 10 mil. So I have my wrench back here and we're just going to loosen this tensioner. And when you take this off, be very aware. Again, this is not what the video is about, like doing this tensioner, but the reason I'm doing all this other stuff, which I'm going to do, I mean, if you're going to go through all the trouble to remove this rear tire and change it, you might as well do some of the basic maintenance things, which I do. You know, I ride the bike a fair amount and I try to do this every year. Okay, this is all loosened up. But you have to be aware, just so you know, when you're taking this tensioner off, there's a few little washers and things. And you have to be sure when you put it back together properly. Come on now. I should be able to pull that off. So here's the tensioner. There's a little, try to get all this stuff back in place. So there's a bushing back here. Hard to see. That little bushing is going to sit there. And then there's a little, it's almost impossible to actually get a visual in there for you guys. Then there's a little lock washer. I think it's it's a lock washer. And then we have the bolt. Should come out now. And I like to put everything back together. So, whoops, the bolt. It's good if you have a nice clean floor too. Just drop the washer. But here's the washer. Put that back in place. And where is that nut? Alright, so we have all our pieces. It's important to keep things together. Otherwise you're going to have a lot of trouble. But yeah, so that's the sequence, and keep that together. This doesn't matter. We can just leave that there. And the next segment, of course the chain's all loose. It will come off. No problem. Alright, so now we just have to take off this nut and this bolt that goes through there. Basically the shaft that holds on the tire. So I'm going to hold it on the one side with my ratchet here. You may not have to hold this, but I'm going to hold it. It might start just turning, but back up a bit here. Alright, so she's out, and next we're going to take out, we have to take off the sprocket and this brake. Alright, I'll get set up for that. Oh, and as I say again, so here's the bolt that holds the tire on. I'm going to grab that nut and that washer. I'm going to put it on the end here so I don't lose it. I suggest you do the same. Okay, to take this sprocket off, you're going to need Torx. They're called Torx ends. This one actually feels a tiny bit loose. This is a T30, but it seems to work. I mean, if you don't have the impact thing, then you have to do it by hand, but I'm just going to take these all off. Alright, so at this point, if there's any air in the tire, we need to get the air out of that tire. I don't think there's much in this one. There's a little bit. And your biggest challenge at this point, now I'm not sure with this one, will be to break the bead off there. Actually, I got lucky there. So I was surprised, actually. It surprised me. But you have to get this, I mean, these are tubeless tires, so they seal along the rim, and you have to break that off of there. And it looks like that was not a big deal. I thought that would be tougher. But there's other ways to do this if you're really having trouble. Gee, I'm wondering if I should even tell you how. Because it's not always safe, but you could get a jack and mount this against something, and then you jack up on the tire and push it in. But I'm not recommending doing that right now because I can't really show you how to do that safely. But yeah, in theory, just get all the air out. Maybe stand on it if you want or whatever, and it should come off of there. I don't know. I thought it would be tougher myself, actually. Sometimes they can be, but... Okay, let me get set up for the next part, get this thing off. Alright, so let's get this off of here. One thing I want to note first, normally tires have a direction of travel. So this was the brake side here, and it's supposed to go this way. The new tire, it has no indications whatsoever, the direction of travel. But it will be the same idea as this. Just look at the tread pattern. Make sure you put this on the right way when you put things together. Otherwise, you're gonna, be starting from square one. So let's give this a go. It's handy to have some nice big pry bars. I've seen guys do this with little screwdrivers, and it doesn't look too much fun. So we'll get one in there, come around here, and we should be able to pull this over. Well, I might have gone too far. Hang on. There. That was the direction. Brake side. Alright, let's get this thing back on. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit of lube just like kind of thicker, I don't know, rust proofing stuff. I'm just gonna lube up the rim here a bit. Help things slide on. Whoa! Help things slide on. Alright, and so I know this side here, this is the dirty side where the sprocket was. So now we have to, actually I'm going to put a little bit of stuff on the tire too here. Go around. Initially this is going to be easy, but then it gets hard, and a lot of people, I don't know, they sometimes don't show you everything. But so anyways, this is the sprocket side. Again, look at the old tire. Whoop. The old tire has an arrow here. It says direction of travel. So that arrow needs to go the way it's pointing. So we have that ready. Let's go from the top here. This will be easier. All right. Yeah, we might need a little bit of pry bar here. There. So this is the hard part. Getting this rim up, or getting this, okay, let's turn it over here. Let's make sure everything's good here. Okay, clean side. That's where the brake was. Got the rotation right. So now this will fit into here, but we have to get this edge on here. Now this is where the challenge comes in. We can try to push this on, but in most cases it just ain't gonna happen. So I set up a little, well, where is it now? What I'm going to do, I have a C-clamp. It has a fairly large back in here. I'm going to put it on the tire, like this. Start compressing this. It's kind of like your third hand. I mean, a lot of people don't show you that it's actually really difficult sometimes to get these on. Which should, in theory, help. That does not want to go in, guys. Oh, shit. Okay, anyone who says that's easy, they're full of it. Anyways, it's on. I'm gonna go take a rest because, yeah. I mean, it's like 100 degrees outside right now, and I'm pretty much done until I get some water in me. That was not easy at all. So, you know, take a rest and put some air in this thing. Okay, so it wouldn't seal the first time, and all I've done, it's almost sealed, but I just went around and I kind of manipulated it, pressed it down like this, and sort of forced the tire to come out to the edge of the rim. And I think I'm pretty much there. Again, this tire is, what was it, 40 psi? And I want to talk about that in a second as soon as this goes on here. Okay, yeah, it's gonna go. I better be careful here. It should pop on. Okay, all the racket's done. Right now it's at, it's supposed to be 40, but it's at, you know, a little bit over 50. So I'm just gonna let some air out. Now, it's at 42. I'm gonna leave it there. And what we want to do now, check it for leaks. I have some Windex here. Soapy water works probably better than Windex, but we're just gonna go around, put some in the valve stem and around that rim there, and we're just gonna wait for a second. If anything's going on, you should be able to see it. So that looks good. Just give it a minute. Yeah, you would notice right away if there was some serious issue. So, as far as I can tell, everything looks fine. So I guess we're gonna have to get this tire mounted up, but first I want to give you a little bit of info, which I really didn't know myself up until someone gave me a few hints, and then I thought about why did my old tire fail, because, you know, the tread's not that bad on it. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you've ever, say if you had like a piece of plastic or a piece of metal, if you keep bending it back and forth, eventually it breaks. And I have a feeling this tire may have been underinflated. And then, so you have the tread here, and it's the same idea of putting things back and forth. Every time one of these higher treads went over the ground, and if the pressure wasn't high enough, it pushes into the tire, like that. It's the same idea, and basically it turned these areas in here, which is not on the tread, so you think, well, the tread looks good, but it weakened all this stuff, and I ended up, it just blew a hole in it. Took like tried to fix it, but it was so soft once the tire was heated up. Like, that is soft, like it's, I wish, I mean, I can't explain it on here, but this almost feels like I could, if I pushed hard enough, I'd be able to put a hole through that with my finger, which is really weird, right? Because, you know, like, look at, I don't know if you can see the indent. So that's what happens. It keeps pressing, and it destroys that area. So interesting. Make sure the pressure isn't too low in these tires. If you're a heavier person, make sure you're at the max pressure. I have a feeling I might have lowered these down at one point because I was on some rough terrain and I wanted some shock absorption, but you're going to destroy the tire. Anyways, just a hint. That's my thought. So, next step, let's get this thing mounted up. Okay, so let's get this tire on. There was one piece that fell off. This is a little shim or a spacer or whatever. I didn't notice that when I took it off, but this one goes on the left, well, from near view, the left side. Of course, we have the washer here. I had it all together, but if you did not remove the chain, so one of the things you need to do, get the tire sort of up into, I mean, we're on the brake side here, so get the tire sort of up into position and get this bolt started. Okay, that's started. Now, since we did not remove the chain, we need to get the chain up over, because before you put the shaft through on the other side here, we need to make sure the chain is not, you know, outside of the shaft when we put it through. So we're just going to line this up. You might have to press here, and you can actually bend it out a little bit. And all that matters at this point, just get the chain past, do a little bit of angling and stuff, and you could even slide it on there, and that will help you bring it around the shaft. Just put it on the teeth there. Okay, so the chain is now on. And again, there was this spacer. This needs to go in here. I hope you can see that, but as you push the bolt through, if you get it to the right spot, the spacer needs to go in there. There, we went through here. It's all good. My washer fell, but put that on. And oh, where'd the nut go now? Of course, that probably fell. Dagnabbit. I've found my nut. Oh, I found it. It's over here. So we'll get this nut on here. So bolt, spacer, come through here, washer, make sure it chains over the shaft, and we'll get this nut on here. Again, start this stuff by hand. This nut actually is a, I think it has nylon in it, so just make sure you start by hand and then we can bolt that on.